There's a ton of noise out there. So how do you get decision makers to pay attention to your brand? Start a podcast and invite your ideal clients to be guests on your show. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We are here today with Dayna Rothman. She is the VP of Marketing and Sales Development at BrightFunnel. Dayna, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. So, Dayna, I'm really excited to chat with you. We've been trying to get this on the calendar for a couple months now, and it finally worked out. So I'm super stoked. And we're going to be talking about why sales development should report into marketing. You recently stepped into a role where you're overseeing both marketing and sales development. And so I'm stoked to dive into that. But before I do, can you give our listeners just a little bit of a rundown on, BrightFunnel? What is BrightFunnel? What are you and your team up to over there?
Yeah, so BrightFunnel is essentially a marketing attribution reporting platform. So basically, we help marketers tie revenue and pipeline to all their different programs and channels and all the different activities that they do so that they are able to, properly optimize their conversion rates for the programs that perform best. Really speak to their C-level executives about the true kind of ROI and benefit of all of the marketing activities they do.
Okay, that's great. So, Dayna, I want to just jump right into this topic because I think there's a lot to cover here. You had mentioned offline that you recently stepped into this role with BrightFunnel, and prior to you coming on board, the person leading marketing was not also leading sales development. So this is a relatively new change for BrightFunnel to have someone leading both teams. Can you speak to why the position is structured that way to where you're leading both of those teams, both sales development and marketing?
Sure. So when I came into BrightFunnel, I was kind of lucky in that the SDRs, we call them ADRs, actually, account development reps, but tons of different names for them. They were already kind of, using a very multi-channeled approach to account development. So, they actually weren't doing any cold calling, which we have put in the mix now. But they were doing a lot of emailing. They were using a sales tool called Outreach to do email drip campaigns. They were also doing some direct mail. So some of the things they were already doing were, kind of close to more or less like what you do in marketing, because there's so many different messages out there that you really need to stand out. And so you can't just call down a list of names. That just doesn't work anymore. So when I came on board and we were thinking through, okay, what do we want the structure of the team? Myself and our VP of sales and customer success, going back and forth, okay, where should the ADR sit? A natural, kind of partnership was between the ADR team and marketing for really two reasons. One is, we're both looking for the same goal. So in marketing at BrightFunnel, I'm in charge of driving pipeline, and the ADRs are also in charge of driving pipeline. So there's a commonality there. And the other piece is that, again, the need to have these multi-channel messages that are, different and more creative than just kind of calling down a list of people. I mean, we market to marketers, and so you've got to kind of get their attention with content, with, creative emails, direct mail campaigns, at events. And those are really marketing motions. And so, who better to kind of work with an ADR team and to teach them how to do these things than marketing? And so, it helps us really extend the value of what we're doing on the marketing side, make sure all of our messaging and programs are consistent and that everyone is kind of aligned and on board, and that the ADR team really gets some best practice in okay, well, how do you make a drip campaign? How do you think about direct mail? How are we tracking these things? And so that is one of the, kind of the big reasons to bucket them under the same umbrella for how we want to structure things.
That makes perfect sense. Can you speak to I want to talk about some of the specific benefits you've seen since making this switch, and then also want to talk about some challenges, but I want to focus on kind of the upside first. Can you speak to some of the specific benefits that have come kind of as a result of this reorg, if you will?
I think one of the key benefits for me is seeing that continuity in top funnel, mid funnel, and bottom funnel programs, whereas like everything's connected. We want our buyers to have a consistent experience. So in previous organizations, if, like ADR team is really siloed from marketing, like marketing, does all this messaging and makes all this content, and it's very disconnected from the experience of, what the ADRs are doing. And so to provide that consistent experience has been really a benefit to me, and I think to our customers and the full sales experience. The other piece is being able to work with the ADRs on like trying out different messaging, trying out different things, being a little bit more creative in their outreach. It has been great because we've been able to create a lot more of a personalized, type of marketing when it comes to what we're doing in the middle of the funnel. The other key piece there too is how it affects our account-based marketing and making that really connected, because we do if we do outreach from the ADR side, they are doing account-based prospecting. So to kind of connect everything together. And then we also actually have like this hybrid role of an ADR program manager that sits between our account development team and marketing and is in charge of developing key relationships with tier 1 target accounts. And so her job is kind of it's a hybrid between, getting pipeline and driving meetings in those tier 1 accounts, but also she's in charge of really developing those high touch relationships that, on the scale that we have to be from a marketing perspective, you just can't, you can't do things on such a personalized scale.
Got it. Or if you can't do things at such a personalized scale, so she comes in, and what are some of the specific things she's doing to kind of help scale that?
Yeah, so she creates similar to, nurture campaigns in our sales tool Outreach, all based on accounts or different persona. She also works with our content marketing team to create personalized content and personalized like content hubs that are per account. She works with the event team on doing targeted field events. So if we have like a certain amount of target accounts in one area, we can run a field event. She does a lot of direct mail as well. So she'll send out like cookies or cupcakes or swag items to tier 1 target accounts. I'm really working to build that relationship and kind of that acceleration in some of these larger accounts that might have multiple contacts. But at the same time, she does also kind of go to the next level to try to get those meetings, to, try to get these folks to an AE.
Got it. Okay. Speaking to some of those benefits now, Dayna, I'd love to, I want to give kind of a balanced look at what this can look like for folks listening that either they're considering having sales development sit under marketing, or they've just implemented it. Can you speak to some of the challenges that you faced since making this switch and how you guys have overcome those?
Yeah, so I think the one main challenge that people face under this structure is not having the ADRs connected enough to the sales team. So not having them connected enough to the AEs and, having that like very heavy sales relationship. The way that we've overcome this is that myself and the VP of sales and customer success, we have a very tight relationship, always keeping each other in the loop of what's going on. The AEs are very involved with what the ADRs are doing. The AEs run sales training and make sure that, the ADRs are working to become closing reps if they want to go in that direction. And so having that really tight alignment is going to be important to, making this work, because you do need that alignment between the teams. At the same time, I think it's also almost like a forcing function of that alignment, because you kind of like have this resource, even though it reports into marketing, but like that's a critical resource for sales. And so it almost is a forcing function for that alignment, but that alignment I think could be a challenge. The other challenge is when you're thinking through who gets credit for what. If you have teams where your ADRs are prospecting and your AEs are prospecting, that can get like slightly messy. Right now, we only have the ADRs prospect, they create the meetings, and the AEs close. So it's a very natural kind of progression between the two pieces. But those are some areas of just like, you need to make sure that your ADR team is really still connected to the sales organization.
And so what are some of the things that you guys have done to bring that connectedness there? Is it having the VP of sales, do the occasional one-on-one with the ADRs, or how does that look, practically speaking?
Yeah, so the VP of sales, he sometimes does one-on-ones with the ADRs. We also have consistent meetings where, we understand what's going on from a pipeline perspective. Him and I also are very good at communicating like via Slack and, communicating with his team. So we do have a constant communication going. The other thing is, creating events that are very cross-functional so that they're, the ADR marketing and the sales team gets to know each other on a more personal level. And so we've done offsites to, help promote that communication. I also have actually the marketing team. They're involved in the sales trainings as well. I think it's important that marketing understand the sales process, that they understand what the AEs are saying and when, and kind of vice versa. The AEs are trained on social selling and how to scale that. So, we try to provide each other like skill sets that the other might not necessarily like have a lot of knowledge on.
That makes sense. So one benefit, Dayna, that I think of as I think about sales development sitting under marketing is having kind of boots on the ground folks that are talking to prospects day in and day out, having a resource like that informing the type of content that marketing is creating. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that is super beneficial. Can you speak to that a little bit and how that looks with your ADRs reporting directly into marketing?
Yeah, we have a very collaborative team. So if they hear something, speaking to prospects, they're very much involved in the content roadmap, in the program roadmap, in what we're doing. And so, we do have that constant feedback loop. And the other thing is too, because you said like boots on the ground, feet on the ground, that reminded me. The other thing that, our ADRs are great at is being at trade shows and being able to do stuff like booth duty, which is, in my experience, something that AEs do not historically want to do and something that marketing doesn't necessarily love. But the ADRs, they love it because it gives them that face time. It gives them the opportunity to like go face to face and to meet people. And so like I heavily use that as a resource, like at events, at trade shows, to be that kind of like face of the company.
I love it. Dayna, this has been fantastic. It's a topic we definitely haven't covered before on the show, so I really appreciate you hanging out with me this afternoon and sharing this. If there's somebody, maybe they want to dig deeper on this with you, or they want to learn more about BrightFunnel, what's the best way for them to go about doing both of those things?
For contacting me, you can definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn. Feel free to email me. At Dayna, Dayna, at BrightFunnel.com, or tweet at me. I'm at DayRoth. And then BrightFunnel, definitely check out our website, www.brightfunnel.com. We have a resource section with some great resources, and we'd be happy to walk anybody, through a demo or anything like that.
Love it. Awesome, Dayna. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
To ensure that you never miss an episode of the B2B Growth Show, subscribe to the show in iTunes or your favorite podcast player. This guarantees that every episode will get delivered directly to your device.
If you'd like to connect with B2B executives from all over the world, make sure to join our private Facebook community. There are some incredible conversations happening inside this group. To join, visit b2bgrowthshow.com/FB.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.